I'm John Travis. It's July 25th, and I have on the line Jim Prescott in Delaware, who is responsible for my changing my career back in the 90s. And I'm delighted, Jim, to have you here today to reminisce a little bit about how you got into what you got into and how much it's impacted so many of us. So say hi to the folks, Jim.
Right. Okay.
Turn my volume up here. So let's see, I met you in, I think it was December of 1995 at the Pre and Perinatal Conference in San Francisco. It was at what used to be the Jack Tar Hotel. It's got a new name now. And I had read Gene Liedloff's continuum concept, which shook me up pretty big. And you
Right.
came along and you had the science to back it up. And I remember tracking you down at lunch and introducing myself and started to read up on your stuff. And then you invited me to the KIMS meeting, it's the Coalition for Improving Maternity Services that was going on in March of 96, might have been May. And we were roommates actually, along with Suzanne Arms, where she and I cooked up the Alliance for Transforming the Lives of Children. Big history happened. So today I want to find out who you are and why. What led to your doing the amazing things that you've done, and the personal background, all that stuff that most people probably wouldn't know. Your work is published, your ideas are well known, but why you did it and how are generally not known. So that's our goal today. Can you tell me what you think led to all this?
Well, it's very difficult after all these many years to pinpoint the sort of life path that I followed. I guess we start with uh, bachelor's degree in New Mexico Islands University in child development, and from there I went to California, and that's when I got drafted. uh, and There's a major program of concerns with sensory deprivation and treatment of prisoners. And from there, I went to McGill University for my doctorate degree in psychology, and I completed my PhD in '64, as I recall. And from there, I went to the NIMH program, an extramural program that was dealing with the effects of drugs and so forth on development. And from there, I went to the Office of Naval Research, where I was assistant head of the physiological psychology branch. And that lasted for a few years. And then there was the Mansfield Amendment, which compelled the various military officers to spend their money not so much on basic research, but on more military directly related problems. So I left Office of Naval Research to the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development to help the developmental behavioral biology program, examine the effects of early experiences on brain development and behavior. And there are three principal areas of concern. One was maternal social deprivation. The other was neonatal anoxia. And the other is malnutrition. So from there, I got really attached to the maternal social deprivation program, and that's sort of the era of Harry Harlow, in which he was raised in isolation herd monkeys. And so I was attempting to develop a program on impaired brain development with these animals, since Harry Harlow did not examine the brains of these monkeys, but just the behavior. And so I set about to examine what it was in the studies of Harlow and the separation experiences that produced all the behavioral abnormalities, just the depressive-like behaviors that the separated monkeys, the infants from their mothers, produced. And what I found is that there was one critical wearing condition that provided the key to understanding what was going on. And this involved the pioneering studies of Dr. Bureau Mason and Gershbergson, who reared separated infants from their mothers. There was a group of monkeys on a moving mother surrogate, and this is in an isolation condition where they could see, hear, and smell other monkeys, but it could not be touched and be touched by them. And so that study isolated the vestibular cerebral system as being a major pathway to understand the abnormalities of the infant monkey separation from the mothers. And from there, it led from one thing to another.
Well, you're probably, to me, the most famous thing is your SSAD, the Somatosensory Affectional Deprivation Syndrome. That really hit home for me, that you named it and described it and documented it in that database, and as well as the studies. So when I learned about that, whoa, adult wellness is too late. We got to get to the infant wellness. And
right.
my personal belief is that our gifts come out of our wounds, and it's no accident that I wound up doing wellness growing up in the 40s with the standard normative neglect and normative abuse of making babies sleep alone in cribs, and I was on a 4-hour bottle schedule and so forth. And Suzanne Arms has shared her childhood traumas that led to her getting involved in changing the norms of birth. And I recall you're telling me years ago some interesting things about your childhood, and I'm curious, do you see that as some of the motivation for why you chose this field?
Yeah, in a way, it's in a diffuse sort of way. I was a depression-reared baby, and also with all the trauma that goes with separation during those early years.
You're one of how many kids?
What?
How many siblings did you have? I've forgotten, quite a few.
I had three brothers, no sisters, and we were, well, the family was, as most families in America at that time, was going through a great deal of trauma.
You were born right at the start of the Depression, as I recall, 1930?
Yes, that is correct. And fortunately, my father, like many families, took a toll on him, and he had alcohol drinking problem, and my mother was forced to find alternative means of supporting three or four children. And so we were all entered into the Guardian Angel Orphanage in Peoria. And this was a Midwest kind of experience. It's a family farm-oriented community, and where all the children pitched in and helped with the institutions according to their age and ability. And so I learned some lessons, although it's not critical or not formative at that time. But the importance of family was paramount. And so that influenced my thinking.
Yeah.
Taking this as modern times, that our culture has overemphasized the individual and the rights of the individual.
Yeah.
While they neglected the community and family, larger family support that is essential for normal growth and development. So that's some of the background.
How old were you when you, and all four of you went to the orphanage?
I suspect that it was in the late 30s when I went into the orphanage. And I was there for about 9 years, and up until the 8th grade, and at which time my mother got remarried and was able to take up regular normal life as far as that was possible. And so, from there, we went to the various schools. And, I graduated from Marquette University, it's a Jesuit university.
And this is in Peoria?
This is in Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
So that was a formative period of my development, and
Did you see your mother while you were in the orphanage?
very little, but we had a rich relationship with our grandmother, and my grandmother husband was a physician and owned a hospital in Eureka, Illinois. And so I never met my grandfather, but we had a lot of contact with our grandmother. And she essentially provided the source of contact and provided the affectional bonds that were absent with the absent mother. And
That's so critical. Yeah.
you're right. And
So were you the oldest, or where were you in the birth order?
I was the third.
The third. Well, that's classically the invisible child too, huh?
Somewhat, I guess.
So you had a lot of motivation to improve things.
Well, yes, but the orphanage experiences provided some unique experiences, you know, that were learned with many of the other kids that were in the orphanage. And we learned to work together and play together in a way that is absent in many families.
Really, the village then.
It's what?
It's the absent village that you experienced that so few of us do.
Exactly, right. And
How big was it? How many kids?
about 200, 250, something like that, as I recall.
All ages?
All ages, probably the youngest was probably 6 months.
And the orphanage was in Peoria?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And we had a mix of boys and girls. So the nuns were pretty good. They provided emotional support, functional support specifically. And
did you see much of your brothers when you were there, or were you separated by age, or how?
no, we weren't separated, but we were in different units because of our age differences.
Uh-huh.
And the oldest child we had not as much contact with, and was released from the orphanage earlier than the rest of it. So that was well. Anyway, back to the NICHD. That these pastoral experiences really influenced my thinking about the importance of mother, and so that the programs that have developed focused on the maternal relationship, the infant bonding that was typically not present in most families, and the orphanage, and so.
Well, this is around the same time that Bowlby was starting to get some recognition, and did you have any contact with him, or
Yeah, at that point, I got contacted with Time Life, and they were putting together, I wanted to put together a film, and they had a series of films, Life Around Us, and so I asked them whether they were interested in the effects of the maternal environment, the social-physical environment on infant and child development, and I said yes. So I was essentially the scientific director, in which Harry Harlow played a prominent role in the film, and I think you might recall some of it. And so that's one person, and but there was a variety of other significant persons.
how about Mary Ainsworth? Did you have any contact with her?
Who?
Mary Ainsworth?
No, I for some reason didn't connect with her personally that much. But as I recall, she wasn't primarily interested in primates, but infants and human.
Yeah.
And so I had no real basis of connection for